Hi everyone, I'm Diana. I'm the Director of Marketing at Diamond & Diamond, and today we're hosting an incredible event with some incredible women. Here with me today is Managing Partner of Diamond & Diamond Lawyers. It's a Canadian international, I would say, law firm, Sandra Zisckind. And we're also here with former Breakfast Television host of Global TV, children's author, keynote speaker, my goodness, Miss Liza Fromer. Everyone.
Hello. Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yes, we can give her a big round.
Oh, thank you very much.
She's amazing.
Thank you.
These women are both pioneers in their respective industries, and they have a lot to share with all of you today about what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated majority industry. I'm going to open up with a question for Sandra. Sandra, you are a big proponent of having women in leadership positions. Yes. So to you, what are the benefits of having women in leadership?
So when I look at people and I'm promoting people into certain positions, I don't do it based on gender or any other I really just do the best person for the job. I think the difference between me perhaps and other employers is I don't discount women just because they're a woman. And I think women get discounted more often than not because they said, oh, you're going to go on mat leave soon. Oh, you're going to have kids. Oh, all of a sudden you're a deficit. And I don't look at people that way. I look at whoever's best for the job, and having a baby or being on mat leave doesn't mean you're ill or sick. Right. It just means you had a baby, and that's fine, and you can just come back. But I think women in leadership positions in general are just, I feel like they're able, because we do balance so much in our everyday life, it's a natural transition to the workplace, and it's very easy to get women to juggle 25 things at the same time, because that's what we do in our personal life, right? That's our life.
Liza, anything to add to that?
Absolutely agree that, I think something that women bring in as leaders is multitasking, being able to see the big picture. One of the really big ones is empathy. Mm-hmm. You know, when we're talking about mat leave and that sort of thing, if you're a woman who now is going on mat leave or planning that, and you're reporting to a woman, a senior, hopefully she's going to understand that a little bit more, work with you a little bit more so that it benefits both the employee and the company.
And I'll tell you something else. In my experience, when I've had people in my office that have gone on mat leave and come back to me, they work, they're seamless. Like they come back and they're even more fired up to work and they're happy. And I've had lawyers with me that have done 3 mat leaves and we've maintained there's no reason why you can't maintain their job, maintain their position in the firm. It's just a cop-out. It's a cop-out to say they went on mat leave and then we're done all of a sudden. Right. It's nonsense.
Which I've seen, by the way.
That's happened in...
Absolutely. Back at BT, woman went on mat leave, and when she came back, they decided to shuffle her into a different position because they had decided that they liked someone else better in the role. And it was legal to do that because they said it was a linear move, but was it the move she wanted or anticipated?
And they make excuses of the ratings or whatever.
Right, exactly. So again, having a female leaders around that, at that time, all the leaders directly making that decision were men. Whereas a woman probably would have thought about it differently and understood you take that time, and that doesn't mean that we are now in your 6, 9, 12-month leave going to use that as a way to also look and see if there's any other talent that we prefer.
And they're discounting the fact that many of the, especially in your situation, many of the viewers like it when they see their people come back and they share their stories of motherhood.
That familiarity comes back.
Right, and that there's a certain intimate relationship with people that do the breakfast. You're letting somebody into your breakfast television in the morning, right? They're into your family, into your nook. And they want to know what's going on with you. They want to know you had a baby and you're running around and maybe you've got gum in your hair, whatever it is. They want to see these things, right?
They want to see you coming back being like, and I'm a mom now, or I've done this, or I took this leave and now I'm back full force, right? As leaders in your industry, what benefits have you seen with your leadership experience? What in terms of how it affects your employees, being that empathetic, warm, understanding, direct, if you will, woman? How do you see the benefits impacted on people that work for you or work with you?
One of the areas specifically, and I'm looking now more at the morning show that I was doing on Global up until 2016, because that's the point where I felt I had the most experience in my career. I did felt the most confident in my abilities. So I was the host. I was never named a producer or executive producer, but after the shows, we would always have meetings going over what went well, and then what's coming up for the next day. And occasionally, and then, we're getting pitch story ideas. And I always wanted to make it really clear, because everybody, the segment producers, are pitching to the senior producers and to me. And what I always wanted to make clear was, if I'm pitching something or you're pitching something and we don't see eye to eye, I actually love that.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a negative for me. I would love not only to hear why you think that the way I want to go about doing this interview might not be the best way, because I don't know everything. And my goal was to make it comfortable for anyone, regardless of what their status was.
To speak up, if you will.
Right,
To say, hey, Liza, I don't know if that's the route we should go. I like this idea for you.
Exactly.
But most of the time you got your way.
Well, I like to keep that like a through life situation.
I guess that leads into my next question about how can we, Sandra, maybe you can comment, because we have hundreds of women that work for Diamond and Diamond. How do you calculate the positive impacts coming from the women in the firm or in an organization, if you will?
I don't know if you can calculate it. It's sort of untangible, but I think what Liza says, like, I try to do sort of the same thing, what she was saying. I try to keep it, because maybe I'm a woman and ego is not my first thing, and being right is not so important to me. And, for those of you who've interacted with me, my famous saying is, I'm happy to be wrong. Right. I'm always happy to be wrong.
Exactly. That's what I was getting
Yeah,
across as well.
100%, because that's the way you create. That's the way you come up with new ideas. If I walked in thinking I'm the smartest person in the room all the time, I'm never going to evolve as a person. Right. So I think I'm hoping that by setting that example, the women get that confidence, so that they go out into the world, in the legal world, with the, hey, we're the same.
Yeah. Like
our law degree is the same.
Yeah.
Just because you have, you're a man and I'm a woman, it doesn't mean we're different.
Yeah, but in that situation where it's like, if you're wrong as a woman, then it's like, haha, you're wrong because you're a woman, or anything like that. Like, when that pushback comes in, how do you face something like that, especially when you're a room full of men, and like you were saying, you're battling out ideas, and do you ever find that there's that kind of, dismissal towards you because it's like, oh, your idea or what you were thinking wasn't on the right track because of this reason?
I find,
because your head's all in the clouds about what you need to do.
They're so pretty.
Right.
Because you're so beautiful.
oh yeah, that must be it. Although I did get those emails from people from time to time, from viewers. It's like, it's all about the boobs and teeth and the blonde hair, getting
they
that kind of
didn't.
stuff. Oh, sure.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, like that's the extra little layer with television. Although women get it everywhere, I guess it's just you get it more directly in television.
But it's interesting. So I used to get emails when we started the commercials, commenting on my weight, commenting on my looks, and I think they feel empowered when it's a woman to comment on the way you look. Like, they would never do that to Jeremy or to Isaac or any of the men, but when it's a woman, they feel like they're empowered to comment on your physical appearance. Oh, I see you lost weight. Yes. Oh, I see you gained weight.
Those comments are...
Okay, I did. I don't know what to tell you.
I can't even imagine people that have that level of followership, because we have a pretty good following on our socials. I don't know what you guys, but I'm sure with what you're saying with the feedback, when you're on TV all the time, or when you're subjecting yourself to that outside, criticism, it could be difficult. It could tackle somebody and take down their self-esteem. So, I mean, that would be my next question, which is, what's the most significant barrier? Is that considered a barrier, that if you're not this type of woman, or if you don't have the nice teeth and the boobs and all that stuff, and the beautiful face, or any of those things, what are some significant barriers for women aside from their presentation?
I think that, broadly, our appearance still matters no matter what the industry is. I think having women, again, in stronger leadership roles will help to dissipate that. Right. And that we're making strides and not just for women, then, women of color might get told they have to wear their, which I've also seen in the industry, that you have to wear your hair in a way that, they'll couch it as that's, a little more acceptable to a wider audience, which just really means we're not comfortable with, in this case, your black hair, naturally black hair. I think I've found aging kind of tough in this industry, for sure. I don't know if it's more in my head or
Well, you're
if
both
it's
in the public
real.
eye, so I can see why, people's perception, like, oh, what happened to, or whatever. It's like, well, I'm doing what life does.
Right, exactly.
Somebody, right?
Exactly, but I would say that for a number of women in my industry that are around my age, it certainly does start to come up.
Right.
That, someone, I've been filling in on BT a little bit, and someone I really respect was sending me an email saying, oh, I saw this, that when you were on, but you need to essentially with slightly better language, you're looking a little dumpy and tired.
Oh.
And I thought, oh.
That's a mind your business response.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, this is what I was so afraid of. But because of my age, now I'm 54, and have been doing this long enough that I can turn around and not have that wound me anymore the way it might have. But again, a woman would never, she might,
No,
but.
I'm sure the looks thing, especially in your industry where you came up, it's like vultures, I'm sure, that the way they come at you. But any other barriers that you see aside from, maybe motherhood is another barrier, like as somebody who's newly married in the industry coming into a workplace and then thinking to themselves, oh, I don't know about this, or I have a male employee beside me who's excelling right now and I'm having a rough week because of whatever reason, hormones, thanks, whatever it may be. Any other barriers that you could see other than?
Well, I think the antidote to that is really good mentorship, where you can bring in a woman who can, an older woman or a woman just has more years experience, who can help to guide younger women and understand their worth in a lot of different capacities. I've always been a people pleaser, so that it's taken a long time for me. And I can't really say that I ever had one particular female mentor, but I wish I had, who could have said along the way, don't worry about it so much, and you belong in the room,
Well, but you were one of the first that I remember, growing up in Toronto, you were one of the first female, heads, the breakfast television. Were you not? Am I wrong?
Ann Romer was first, and then it was me.
Okay, but weren't you more? Did she have the same position as you? Because it doesn't stick out with me, Ann Romer, as much as it does with you.
They tinkered with things afterwards, so they brought Kevin and I together more. Ann was never sitting with Kevin.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it became more of that kind of show.
Because I feel like you were sort of a pioneer in Toronto with that breakfast television. That's how I looked at it growing up, watching. For television is something for you people. Television is something you put on. It's that box that your parents have in your house. So growing up, for me, Liza was on every morning in my kitchen, right? That's how I grew up, right? We're not much of an age difference, but I just remember it through my formative years. Remember, you put on, that's where you checked your weather. That's where you got your news. That's where you knew what was going on. And I just remember I know you were with Kevin, but I just remember you being central, and I just don't remember anyone before you. That's my memory growing up.
Right. And during the time that I was on there, it just happened that we were on City and CP24 was still owned both by Chum, so it was just, the show was a monster.
We had, and you were saying you were early hours waking up just to get there on time.
And ratings-wise, it was like everyone was watching at that time.
That's the station. That is the station.
Yeah.
But especially back then, because this is pre-social media, a lot of the stuff that you guys used to get. So everybody turned into CP24, CTV in the morning. It was always Liza there, and I know Kevin was with you. But I didn't remember Kevin was with you until Liza was really the star of the show. So I'm just saying there would have almost been nobody to mentor you because you were sort of the pioneer there, right?
Right. Yeah. And I loved working for City while it was owned by Chum, but there were some things, it had been around already for a decade or two, and I remember talking to Jeannie Becker when she came in, and she's told this story, so I'm not telling tales out of school, but when she got pregnant, she was told she was doing FT, fashion television.
Fashion television. That was the best channel ever.
Oh my God, it was such a good show.
Aside from breakfast television.
Yeah, obviously. She was told, you have 2 weeks, and if you want more mat leave than that, don't bother coming back.
Nice.
And I guess she did, because she was the host of that show for a very, very long time.
Very, very long time, yeah. But there was no conversation around it.
Did you face those barriers, either of you, in your career, like on the come up when you were doing what you were doing? Sandra?
I just remember when I was going for articling interviews, for jobs, and this was 20 some odd years ago, very short time, the men that were interviewing me, and it was usually men, because there wasn't very many females in leadership positions at law firms, they would say, well, we can't ask you if you're going to get pregnant soon, but are you? We can't ask you. We're not supposed to ask you if you're getting married soon, because if you get married, you're going to get pregnant, right? Like, and quite frankly, first of all, they're assuming I'm going to get married. Yeah. They're assuming that I'm straight. Right. They're assuming that I want children. There's like all these assumptions in there. And at the time, no one, I intrinsically felt it was wrong, but there was this is before Me Too, this was before a lot of the stuff that we used to see. So I answered the questions like an idiot. Like I should have probably just said, it's none of your business, but I just wanted the job, and I was just trying to people please, and I just wanted the job, and I said, oh no, I'm a long way off. I'm not even married. I'm single, la la la, and tried to, which is silly. Like I would never ask that question, because it's irrelevant.
No, and illegal now.
It's completely illegal. I think it was illegal back then. I think it was illegal back. The Law Society had set up rules that you weren't supposed to ask these questions, but they said we're not going to ask it, but we're going to ask it.
Right. Yeah.
And that was always the worry. Oh, well, I don't want you getting married and up and leaving me because you get pregnant.
Right. Because in a law firm situation, I guess at the time it was assumed that you had to work from 7 a.m. till midnight every day just to prove yourself to ex-partner or whoever heads up the firm.
Because I started off on Bay Street, and Bay Street law firms was very much like you if you weren't sleeping at your desk and putting on FaceTime, which was always stupid for me, and I never make anyone do that. Like they came in the morning, they had to see you at your desk, whether it was 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. You should be at your desk, whether you had work or you didn't have work.
Right.
That was the whole sleep. I remember a partner told me, I said, I'm tired, I think I'm going home. He goes, just sleep at your desk. Right. I said, okay, great. I'm so happy I went to law school.
Maybe they were asking the guy next to you, like, hey, let's go for drinks after work.
Yeah.
It was writing your briefs.
All it did was make us get better at figuring out ways to show we were there without being there. Mm-hmm. Like, just made us scheme more because it was stupid. Right. So we'd put, like, at the time, a library. A library is a place you go where they have books. We used to put going to the Great Library at Osgood Hall, and we would never go to the Great Library because nobody cared how much we would go for lunch or something. But it just made us. That's why it was stupid. That's why I always tell people in the firm, just work efficiently, and when you're done, be done. It's fine.
Which again is, I think, a benefit of female leaders,
right?
Who aren't necessarily, and you can never be sweeping about it, but might not micromanage as much, understand that there's something outside the office doors as well, and putting in those 16-hour shifts isn't necessarily conducive to, one way we probably can measure is, how many hours are spent away from the office, sick, a mental health leave, things like that. I don't know the answer, but I would have to wonder if a woman was in charge, or some women are in the room when certain decisions are being made. Does that help people want to be there?
Right, and I think about myself, like, if my kid is doing a play where and let's face it, most of them when they're little, they're just like farting on stage, or I don't know what they're doing. But if you miss it, the guilt and the feeling from that, your day is done anyways. Right, yeah. So what's the point? You're now missing something. It's better go see the play, come home, finish your work, because then you could feel like you're doing both and not failing at everything, right? That's the problem we feel as women. You're failing at everything. You're failing at motherhood, you're failing at this, you're failing at this. So what's the difference? Go see the play, go clap at them, feel like you're present with them, and then go home and finish your work. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
So speaking of that, like, what is it, like, there's got to be some sort of trait or something that would derail a woman from their promotion or their moving forward, or any of those, you're saying that, okay, you're going to go to the play and then you're going to go home and then you're going to work. What other traits there, what other dangerous traits there would derail a woman from moving ahead in her life, in her career?
I don't mean this to be disparaging towards women, or towards men, but having too many men still making the decisions,
Right.
I think, is a difficult.
It's like you get home from the play, my kid was sick after, I couldn't tackle this thing, and you would wake up early in the next morning to try to get that done. That must have been draining all over, right? Like all over and over again to maintain that kind of behavior. But what would be your advice to somebody who's, you know, currently going in the flux of that in their career, of being a mother, trying to maintain the 3:45 a.m. wake up,
Right.
or the play, or the sick, or the managing a law firm? Where do you see that?
Be good to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because women and women who are mothers, like you said, will immediately think, you've gone to work, you've gone to the play, and somehow at the end of the day you think, I still fucked it all up.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And rather than
Need
that,
therapy. That's what I tell my sisters. Your kids are going to need therapy in the future anyways.
regardless,
Don't worry about
I
it.
actually,
Great job.
my kids are 14 and 17. I'm like, have you guys decided yet what things I've done that will drive you to therapy? They didn't tell me though.
Not yet.
But I think as women, and I continue to try to practice this more and more, and it's really hard, is to be gentle with ourselves and to speak to ourselves kindly and to speak to ourselves. Someone had said once, you know, because I think we all have that negative thought train that goes around and around.
Yes.
My outfit looks like shit, and I only made KD for my kids today. And then the negative self-talk. Would you talk like that to your friend if your friend said, "Oh, I went and all I could make was KD," and I'd be like, "You did all of that today?
Yeah.
You fed that? Yeah, good for you." And so instead of having to have a friend say that, say it to yourself.
Right.
You know, like always sort of try to monitor your self-talk.
That's really, actually, that's a great point.
Where, you know, and which is what I try to do when I go to bed and start to get on my own case about things. Like, no,
Yeah.
I did all right today.
Yeah.
I washed my hair. My children are alive and back in their rooms, and that will do for today.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's little wins, and sometimes there's big wins.
Correct.
Take them both.
Speaking of that negative self-talk and what have you, I know we know that you were in the TV world, in the TV industry. How did you move about while managing all these things? What were your points to getting a promotion? Were you ever worried about getting that promotion and moving up to being the host? And, you know,
all those things happen sort of. I didn't have a very linear, like you join a firm and then there's a process. So I jumped from thing to thing, from being at the Weather Network to going up to Calgary to anchor and report the news. Was in LA for a year doing a few things there.
and you were doing this all juggling mother?
No, that was when I was still
pre-
single.
yeah.
But then when I left Los Angeles to come back to Toronto, when I got breakfast television, when the kids came along, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
I think even that can be another point of having a good female mentor and just a thing that women could be doing for each other.
Right.
I'm an only child, so I didn't grow up around a lot of little kids. I don't think I had given it enough thought. And I had kids late, 36 and 39 when I had my kids.
Oh. For you.
But right?
You did the thing though. You traveled. You worked in
Yeah.
different areas, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it got my career to a point where I wanted it to be, and it wasn't so like written in stone, this life plan. It kind of rolled out that way, but I did want to live my life before I had kids. But I wish that we as women would talk to each other a little more candidly about it's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Especially in that profession, I feel like, because there's so much FaceTime, right, that you're doing and you're communicating to the public constantly, that the difficulty in getting that promotion, I don't know, I guess you'd have to work extra hard or
Or you have something to prove now, perhaps because you're a mother, and so you feel like you need to go into the office and prove that that is not going to distract you from what you need to do professionally, and all of that sort of thing. But just the overall, if we're looking at like a heteronormative relationship, we know statistically that when women marry men and then have babies, or even if they don't have babies, part of getting married means a woman's taking on more labor. And I think we need to really think about that. Why are women taking on more domestic labor? And typically it doesn't impact the men in any way. So how do we address that? I don't know, like more equitable sort of splitting up within the house. That can be hard. You know, pick the right partner.
Could be, yeah, exactly. I think it's about the partner that you choose for yourself. But I mean, I think the narrative amongst the younger male generation is maybe to like be a little bit more helpful in that regard.
It's cultural though. I see like I have friends from abroad where the norm is the husband and wife to work. So it's just very like, and that's what they saw in their house.
Right, yeah.
They saw in their house that the mother and father had 50-50. So for them it's 50-50.
Right.
And you know, the husband cleans the toilets the same way the wife cleans the toilet. There's not these gender specific rules because that was inbred in them. So I think, first of all, 100% we need to be kinder to each other and understand that, you know, we're all dealing with balancing. And second of all, what we need to do is when we have sons, especially, is teach them.
Very important.
Teach them if you want to be alive and not have your wife kill you.
Yeah.
Pick up a dish, put in the dish, and by the way, you're not a hero for putting a dish in the dishwasher. That's normal.
Yeah.
You need to do that. It's not all on her. If you have two people that are working, then two people have to work in the home. You know, and most people don't have that because growing up, there was this sort of this expectation the guy comes home even if the woman works. And you're right. Now you're doing two full-time jobs. You're doing a housewife job and you're going to work and you have to have the dinner on the table and everything has to be done. But you know, if I think the best thing we can do as women is teach our, like, you know, we have Leanna, who's a very good friend of ours that works for everything. Her husband's amazing. He does the laundry. He does he's really a 50-50 partner.
He's a fully, I would say a fully developed human being, right? Because like for me, like not for anything. When I was dating and what have you, like they couldn't cook a meal. They didn't know really how to watch. It's just like, what do you do then? It's just like I go to my mom's. I'm like, you are a 30-something-year-old male. How is this possible? How are you living on your own? How are you even paying your bills for that matter? Who's taking care of that for you?
Right. You
it
just
was very
press
interesting.
the self-cleaning on the house.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
then it's like the Jetsons. It all becomes the way it is.
It was
100%.
funny. I think I saw this Instagram clip once where the guy was just like, no, just leave it there. Just leave the items there, right? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, in the morning, it's all gone. And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, watch, I'll show you. And he's like, just leave it there. And she was like, no, I cleaned it up. I'm the one that feels, you're just leaving a mess and I gotta pick up all the pieces.
Magic. The house is not magic.
It's not a magic house. Oh goodness. How do you guys encourage, I guess I'll start with you, Sandra. How do you encourage women not to give up when they are conducting their laundry list of things that they have to do? What is your...
Not to give up on life?
Not to give up in their careers, not to give up in their mission to, you know, get that promotion or be a mom or...
The thing I would tell my younger self is you know, what I think I should have done more of when I was younger is, first of all, I should have set the boundaries and said, no, you need to do. You know, I had this thing where I had to do everything myself, whether it was at the firm or it was at home. I'll just do it because it's easier. I'll just finish it up because it's easier. I'll just do it. And I think that's, and it's interesting because I don't manage that way. When I manage the firm, I don't take it on myself. I delegate and I let you know, the firm sort of make their mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. And I think I didn't exercise that enough in my personal life. I should have been like, no, you do it. So now, even with my children, they come to me to ask me to do something for them. I said, what did you do first before you asked me? Because I'm trying to teach them this independence, this sort of like, I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to depend on you thing. Right. And I don't want to be the fixer of every single situation. So I think looking back, if I could give myself one piece of advice, I would have done more of that than just martyring myself. I always say, and I always tell people, martyrs always end up dead. So it's stupid. But I used to martyr myself a lot. I'm like, oh no, I'll cook and I'm writing an essay and then I'll just vacuum a little. You can't do it. You're not the one man kicking band at all times. You need help. So admit you need help. There's no weakness in it. Admit you can't, and I'm telling you, nobody can do everything by themselves and be successful at it. You cannot do it. Admit the weakness, admit you need help, ask for help, demand and set up boundaries for help and say, no, I need you to do this because I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, the setting the boundaries is important.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And I still struggle with that.
Yes.
Where, the kids will, do you need any help with dinner? No, well, I'll just do it.
Right.
You
Meanwhile, you could be
know?
like, chop the onion, do the
Yeah, I should. I
do the
absolutely
whatever, right?
should be.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they will roll in from school. I'll be like, nah, I'll just, and that's a mistake.
Right.
I need to, or even my daughter's younger, 14, my boy's 17, and she'll do her own laundry if there's stuff she wants clean, and he'll say, can you throw some stuff in for me? And she's like, well, and she'll kind of, not love it, or she'll say, okay, and I'm like, Samson, thank your sister if she's going to do it, and then you tell her which part you're going to do. Are you going to put it in the dryer?
Yeah, if you do this, I'll do that. Right, more helpful. Right.
Yeah.
Knowing all this, what motivated you to pursue a leadership role then? Knowing what you were kind of, the type of personality type you were, that was the people pleaser, that was the no boundaries and getting it all done yourself. Like what?
Exactly what you're saying. Do you notice a theme? It's exactly what you're saying. There was no choice.
There's no
There was
choice.
no choice. I'll just do it.
No, but there's obviously something inherent inside of you that
Yes.
says, I'm not going to be this level. I need to elevate to this level. I need to be the host on BT. I need to be the managing partner of Diamond and Diamond. I need to be an author. I need to do all these things. What kept you on track to that? What was your
Being creative,
Yeah.
I think having some sort of ability to be creative. When I wrote those kids' books, 6 of them with my then sister-in-law, she's a doctor, a family doctor. So the books are about kids understanding their bodies and how they grow and change for like 6 to 9-year-olds. And I was pregnant with my second at the time, so I needed an outlet. I needed something to do. So that came along in that way. And then again, because I'm not so linear with it, but when I was working on whichever show, because I wanted everything to be as good as it could be that we were putting out on the air to the public, I think I just sort of stepped into that role and was like a de facto. I was never given a title of an exec producer or anything like that, and I wanted people to know that everyone was valued.
Yeah.
We're all working on towards the same goal. And so that we felt like not just a team, but a happy team and a herd team.
Right. And I think that, like what Liza's saying, what I think is a common theme is the belief in yourself, right? I think I had an unwavering belief in myself that what I was doing was, and I was always happy to listen to criticism and to fix it, but I could see the path.
Right.
I could see the path. Literally right before we came here, I was with Isaac, my brother, my partner, and I said, oh, by the way, we're doing this. And he said, you're insane. Which is, by the way, how most conversations happen with the business. He said, I don't think, and then I can see it.
you saw
can
some sort
foresee
of
it.
future
Yeah, I
where
can see
you would
it.
you would be the
Right.
managing partner of a law firm.
Well, I could
you
see
would
I could see a pathway of where I wanted things to end up, and I could sort of see if I do this, the likelihood is it's going to end up here. And I can kind of feel, and I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. It's a trial and error. But if you really believe in yourself and then do the work that is necessary behind it, because it's not enough to just, like in her situation, she came up with this idea for a children's book. Right. We all have come up for ideas with books, but then you got to do it.
Right.
So you got to put the work behind it. You got to figure out, how do I write a children's book? How do I do this? Anybody can come up with the idea. The ideas are not so brilliant, by the way. Right. It's more the execution and the work and the determination that goes into making a quality product. Yeah. So it's good to come up with the ideas, but if you don't follow through.
And sometimes because,
Get her done.
I'm a Pisces, so I'll be like, I have ideas that go nowhere. And so my sister-in-law is like capital A alpha. Yeah. Let's get it done.
Yeah,
go.
She would have helped,
Yeah, so I was the idea guy, and then she was you're going to be back here again in 2 days at 2:00, and we're going to write some more, and we're going to do this and that. So what that showed me was I need that other person at times to complement what I can offer.
Right, but and it was a woman, so there you go. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And we both understood like we wanted to help each other and what we brought to the table.
Yeah.
And all
I was
that
going
sort
to
of
pivot to
thing.
the next question. Like, you pivoted your career to the accomplished children's author, and that how did you build that confidence and resiliency to do it? I guess it kind of bleeds in from the last answer, but that's a change, right? It's still in the creative arts.
Right.
It's still in the creative field. It's still putting yourself out there, putting your name on something. What I guess, was it having the children and wanting to do good by them, or
I think it
or
was
looking
like,
around and seeing all these kids that don't know who to use the toilet? Like what?
I think it was.
Also, if I could solve that,
I think it wasn't as planned as any of that. It was more like just a little spark of an idea. And sometimes it's just happenstance, where I was talking to Francine and she was like, well, I'm a doctor. We could use my medical skills, because I had other ideas for the books, and then, and trade on what you've got, as far as I had a certain amount of name recognition, so I could reach out to Random House and Tundra
Right, yes.
and say, would you take a meeting with us? And they said, okay. And they ended up liking the idea, and it all started to move forward. But don't be afraid to trade on who you know, what you know, make those calls, you know.
And try. And what was the worst they were going to say to you? No?
No.
Yeah, they're not going to kill you. They're just going to
Yeah.
say no.
I work in TV.
No thanks.
Almost all I hear is no.
No, that's
So-
right. Sandra, you still hear no after all these years?
I do. The difference with me now is they whisper it. Before they were more confident. Now they're more scared of me. So now it's more like, so this is why I think this is not going to work. They do it more nicely. Back in the day, it was just like, no, you're crazy. Yeah.
You're insane.
Yeah, you're insane. Although Isaac just told me, no, I'm insane upstairs. So I do hear it regularly.
Oh, that makes me laugh, because it's true. I witness it all the time. How do you balance your professional, personal? I guess this is a question that usually gets asked, but asking two powerhouse women, how do you do it? Because for me, I'm single, I finish work, I go to the gym, I don't have time to cook dinner, so maybe I'll make an egg, and then I gotta do laundry, and then this. I don't know how you do it with added kids and the level at which you're at in your career.
Right.
How do you balance it?
Help. Never being ashamed to say, I need help. Like when I was doing the morning show on Global, my kids were little, and so the nanny that we had that would just come during the day when I wasn't working now had to move in.
Right.
And my husband and I were divorced, but for the days they were with me, she had to be there and sleep over, and I wasn't going to feel like, oh, I'm not raising my kids. She's there to get them up in the morning and give them breakfast. That's okay.
Don't
That's
feel
all right.
guilty about it. Just
Yeah, because
take
I'm going
the
to be
help.
back at dinner, and I'm also modeling to them, what it means to be a professional woman and the demands. So I think that was important, but it's always comes along with, like, I haven't worked full time. I've been doing freelance things, but I haven't worked full time in a number of years now, and I thought to myself, I will now decide that the main focus is going to be kids. And because for me, I felt like sort of the ages, like as they're getting to the end of elementary and then all through
Yeah.
middle and high,
There's
they
that window of
need
time, right?
you.
Yeah.
And so I chose, but again, then I think I have all this guilt thinking, am I modeling like a June Cleaver 1950s situation now?
Pancakes will be ready.
But basically, they get up, I'm there. They come home, I'm there. I'm making their dinner. I'm packing their lunch, all those things. And then I thought, I was just having this conversation like a couple days ago with a good girlfriend of mine who is a stay-at-home mom. And we were worrying, like, she has a boy and a girl. Am I modeling something that's so old-fashioned now?
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just
The problem is we'll never get it right. We do one thing, we think we're wrong. We do the other thing, we think we're wrong. We have the guilt from all ends.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, we're all doing the best we can. And at the end of the day, whether you get the help from the nannies or the help from the outside people, I know that my kids know who their mother is.
right.
And I know my kids know.
Listen to you when you say.
They know I'm their mother. They know I'm there. They know what I'm doing is important. Just like, and whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a working mom, your kids know who your mother is, and they feel it. And they feel it. They feel who their mother is. They know who it is, and that's what's important to me. And when I need to be present, I'm present. And I think that's the key, is to try, so you alleviate some of the guilt that you have from working or from not being there, is being present. And like you said, you made decisions to be present when it was important and when you felt it was important. And I know if the kids, the kids have a game, if they have this, the kids' schedule is insane. But so I try to do it as much as possible. And even if I've taken conference calls at the hockey rink, It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. I've done, I've taken conference calls while I'm getting a bikini wax too. You do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do. You
got me on that
You do
one.
what you gotta do. I have actually done that. I did. I muted it in surgery. So I have actually, that's a true story. It's a true story. I just to multitask and get things done. I will do all sorts of crazy stuff, but I have done it all. But my kids, I think at the end of the day, feel who their mother is. They know who their mother is. And they know that I'm doing the best that I can. And some days I'm not gonna do great. Some days I'm going to be not the best mom, and
I'm sure
I
you
won't
have
be
those
there.
frustrating moments where you're like, I've had enough today and I don't have time for this.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't have all the answers, and we mess up as moms, and we just like I mess up at the office. I'm not perfect at the office too. We just do our best, and then you hope at the end of the day you can figure it out. But look, I think the key is a happy mom. Whatever decision a mother makes, the key is a happy mom. So whatever you're modeling for your kids, if they see you're happy. And that's what you want to model, because basically that's all we want is happy, well-adjusted children that are not serial killers. That's our goal, right?
Please don't murder or sexually assault.
Yeah. We don't see CP24.
Liza, is he talking about my son?
Is that
Liza.
do I think I have to go.
With all the help and all the, okay, so you have the help, you have this added shedding of the guilt and whatever. So I have to ask then, what do you guys do to take care of yourselves? Like, what do you do? Like when it's Sandra and Liza time, what do you do? Because I quite enjoy sitting on a couch or
Doing the thing or going to the spa. What do you-
Tonight, Bridgerton. For sure. Just when my kids go back to their dads, I just decide that, like, I'm allowed to have a day. And I'm not going to feel guilty.
about doing nothing for a day.
Exactly.
You know that I can't sit still.
Yeah, Sandra cannot sit still
Sandra,
for a moment.
you know me very
Yeah,
well. It's my ADHD. I cannot sit still. So usually, I want to do an activity, like going for dinner with friends, doing that sort of thing, and having a good time over a nice bottle of wine. That's usually my me time to just laugh and be silly and be stupid. That's the thing that I enjoy the most. I can't sit on a couch. I have a problem, and all of you that know me know that I have a problem. I can't sit down.
But you take a vacation here, like, but you're still a little much on.
But even on vacation, I'm a lot.
Yeah.
It's not so easy. When most people are lying on the beach relaxing, I'm like doing a hike. I'm like, let's go climb the mountain. Like, sit down for 1 minute, please. Sit down.
It's usually the case of conversation. So it's just taking the time out, not feeling good. Even if it is bouncing off the walls,
Whatever it is,
it's you're doing it on your
Whatever
own.
makes me feel good, right?
Right.
Whatever gets my energy out.
Yeah, that's so. Who was your? I know you were saying that you in your industry, like looking for a mentor or anything like that. But is there any woman, that female in your life, that sticks out, that was a mentor or a leader for you, or somebody that you looked up to?
So because of my age and doing the latchkey thing, coming home from high school, I feel like I was raised by Oprah and would watch her all the time. But as it became clear that I was going to try to be in that same industry, I would look more closely, because Oprah, is a extraordinary interviewer. So I'd watch and think, how does she do that? And
How am I doing?
right? Yes. Oh my God, so good. Yeah. But also the fact that she decided and got really good advice early on when she got her show, when it was going national. King World came to her and said, you need to own this.
Right.
Don't just be the host on the payroll.
Right.
And so these were all lessons. It's like, if you own your show, now you get to make a lot more money, and you get to decide who you're going to surround yourself with. And, she's surrounding herself with a ton of, and these were early days, 80s, 90s, women.
Yeah.
And, walking the walk.
Yeah.
So I did look to her as far as just being extraordinary in her job, but also how she moved through her life outside of her job as well.
Yeah. I think she was helpful for a lot of women, just that first ownership, that being that voice and all that stuff. Sandra?
No, I didn't have anyone really in the legal field, because there wasn't women doing what I do now in the legal field. But I always surrounded myself with women, and I still surround myself with women who keep my head level and when I'm being stupid, tell me I'm stupid. And when I'm always you, and so I'm looking directly at you. I don't surround myself ever with yes people telling me how brilliant I am and how smart I am. I only have people around me who tell me, you know, like try and level me down. And my father, of course, was my father is my big. Any big idea I have, I always bounce off of him. And if he tells me I'm stupid, then I know I'm stupid. And if he tells me, okay, maybe we'll see how things go, but go see first and let me know. So then that's sort of my father is my big standing board. And I think because I had that strong father figure in my life who believed in me so much, I had this over sense of confidence that I could do it. So
I remember my dad was always saying is like, fix yourself up first before you think about, like that was, because he had 4 girls, there's 4 of us, right? So there was always that discussion of that. It was actually inspiring to have a father who would say to me, you need to finish school, you need to get your job, you need to set yourself up first and then move forward. That being said, I mean, I like to sort of wrap this up, but what advice do you guys have to the next generation of women, knowing that you're mentors and all you've been through? What's your general advice, or what's your, aside from asking for help or anything like that, what would you do to encourage them to move forward?
I would just say, believe in yourself in a real way. I think believe in yourself in a confident way. I think one of the things that I see even with the law firm, and I'm talking to women every day, and I'm talking to a lot of my women lawyers.
You bring a lot of them at the table too.
Yeah, and I tell them all the time. I said, you know, when they're advocating for themselves, they have no problem advocating for other people, but when they're advocating for themselves, they do it in a, well, you know, no. Whereas the men will walk into my office, they'll be like, this is why I'm the shit. And I'm like, oh, God.
Yes.
Right. I'm like, okay, fine. Don't start off from an apology. Don't start off apologizing for your existence. Own who you are, own what you do, own what you contribute, believe in yourself, work hard, work smart, and never come off from, you don't have to apologize for your existence. I think as women, so often we start off with the, I'm so sorry to bother you. Yeah, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I just wanted to tell you everything you're doing here is wrong. No, just say everything you're doing is wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. It's like, this is not correct. And you can be wrong sometimes too, and you got to take that and not, you know, internalize it and run to the washroom crying, which I've done before too, especially during articling. During articling, when they used to yell at me, I used to run to the washroom and wipe the tears away and fix the mascara and continue on. But and there's no shame in that too. Listen, we're all growing and we're all evolving, but don't ever start from, I think that's what I would have told myself younger is, I don't know why I kept apologizing for myself. I kept coming from a place of like, I was apologizing for my existence. Now when I'm on the phone call, and usually I'm on a call with mainly male lawyers, I have no problem speaking up. Speak up. You're the same. It's the same law degree. It's the same piece of paper.
Other lawyers, politicians, you've done it with
everybody. With everybody. I have no issue now, but it took me a long time to get there. It took me a long time to get there.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely took such a long time to really be able to walk into a room. So now I would say, whatever room you walk into, if you've done the preparation and you know you're ready, like you belong in any room that you find yourself in. And I think as we go along, women that have the ability to have a little bit more seniority have to also, again, be helpful in all those little situations, the microaggressions, where still when women get cut off, they're halfway through a thought and then a man at the table will just jump in and, well, I have to say her what she means. And then, you know, let's have some senior women say, I don't think she was done. If they don't think, you know, little things like that. But even it was interesting on LinkedIn yesterday. Does anybody know who Erica M is? She used to be on Much Music.
This is my generation.
Yeah.
She was a VJ back when we had Much Music.
Yeah, she was one of the original VJs.
She was great.
Yeah.
Amazing. She still does, now she does work sort of in the women and parenting and all sorts of things. But she is at a point in her career where she doesn't have to worry about things. And Chorus, which owns Global, just their chief executive left. They put into co-chief executives white man, and who have been there forever. And she was bold enough to say, this doesn't work anymore. This, you know, if you...
She spoke up.
She spoke up, and even now, I had seen that before she had posted it, just that these promotions had happened and changes, and thought, same old, same old.
Right.
But did I say anything? No, because I still have this little voice saying, you still kind of want to work in this business,
Right.
shut your yapper. And then having someone like Erica model that, or Jennifer Valentine, who I worked with on Breakfast Television, and then she ended up at Q107, which is also Chorus. And these men that just got bumped up the ladder, one of them is one of the people she went to when she was being harassed at work. Not sexually harassed, but she was being harassed by the person that she was co-hosting with on the radio.
Right, yeah.
And she decided also to go on to social media and be clear about it, that enough was enough.
Yeah.
And she didn't get any help that she was promised, and ended up getting let go.
Right.
And the idea that
She still stuck up for what she believed in. She still spoke her voice. She was
Very
still bold.
much
She was
so.
still, yeah.
like Jen is always like the sweetest kind of thing, and I was like, God damn, Jen, now you're a dragon slayer. Like what?
We'd love to see it.
But yeah, I think it's important for women who now are at a level to keep pointing these things out,
Yeah.
because they can, and help other women who aren't necessarily of that seniority yet or confidence get there.
Yeah, just be bold, be confident. Know your worth, essentially.
Know your worth and ask for it.
Girls, ladies, I should say, what an honor it was today. I just want to thank you so much. It was such an honor just to sit
really
here.
was for you.
It really was. You guys are really cool and important. I feel great. I feel fantastic. Thank you so much, Liza. Sandra, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I really hope we can do this again sometime soon. And yeah, thank you all for coming.
Thank you
I
all
hope
for
you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you all coming today. Thank you.
We have lunch.
And another round of applause for Liza and Sandra, please. Yay!